Welcome to episode 2 of Human Noise. This is the podcast that me and Nikkei are starting in Sri Lanka.
That's right. And every week we hope to have on different guests. Guests will be here when
we change the shot.
Yeah.
Boom. And it's Tariq today, who's a friend of ours from school. And we are going to talk about in the first part. We talk about let's see what we talk. We talk about happiness and the plans that our parents had for us. And the way they failed dramatically. No. And we talk a lot about colonialism and how much that has affected us and our lives personally, like the colonial hangover that this country suffers from and how that affects our people, but also us personally, right?
That's right. And it's more of a exploration of ideas and how we feel it is. Like, it might be a touchy subject, but hopefully, just add your ideas as well. We're not saying we're right. We're not,
Yeah, we'd love to hear
advocating a certain perspective.
Yeah. We're not taking a side. We're not getting behind an idea. We're not taking a side. So you give us your feedback. Post your comments. We'd love to hear what you have to say. We're starting this whole thing because we want to push this medium, because we feel like through natural conversations, you can have a better, more fair, more open, and ultimately deeper exploration of ideas than when you have 10 minutes and you got to be really focused and follow a script or whatever. So if you guys want to start your own podcast, we really recommend that. We reckon, and if you want to post suggestions, you want to post your ideas, you want to post your thoughts, we'd love that as well. Yeah,
so do that. Hopefully, once you watch the video, check out the website. We also have audio.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to listen to us,
look at us. If you don't look at us, you don't look at our fucking faces. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, but if you do want to listen to us
and not look at us,
but not if you don't have the time or just the patience, just download it, and while you're doing other stuff that you usually do, add it, see whether it improves.
I mostly listen when I'm riding, or when I'm driving, or when I'm doing chores, or when I'm at work, and it's fucking boring. So
appreciate your feedback, and
we hope you enjoy it.
That's right.
Yeah. Peace. Anyway, I'll ask you a different question. What do you reckon in our lives, right? So we're living, and we had all these things. We grew up. We had to get an education. Everyone told us that was really important. And we had to get a job, and everyone told us that was really important. And now we're at a stage where we're working, and we've been working for how long have you been working for? I've been working for 3 years.
About 3 years.
Yeah. You?
Yeah.
A year.
Yeah.
You young motherfucker. And everyone told me that this would make me happy and shit. So it's are you happy?
I am happy, but I think I was happier when I was younger.
What do you mean, man?
I don't know, man. It's at the time. See, that's the thing. See, I can never, or maybe it's not. It's me. It's probably everybody. But I think most people, it's very hard for them to realize it at the time. It's always more like a retrospectively you're looking back.
Yeah.
And then is when you can judge your feelings and kind of decide oh, this is how I felt, this is how. So I think for me it's very hard for me to kind of in the moment, realize what's going on or how happy I am. So back then in school, I don't know, man. It was a lot of fun for me in school. I had a really good group of friends. I played basketball. We were pretty awesome at basketball, our team, and so we did really well as a team. That was really fun. And we had a good group of friends. We always had a good time, and we used to hang out and shit. We played a lot of pranks on people. I don't know, stupid shit, but when I look back, I had a lot of fun in those days, and at that time I was happy, So right now maybe.
But if it's a retrospective thing, how do you know that you're not happy now and 5 years?
Yeah, I guess that's the
yeah.
I mean that's the fucking it's dilemma. It's I'm not really dilemma, but it's hard.
But you did all those things, you did all the things that we're supposed to do, the education and the job and shit.
Yeah.
So why are we not happy, man? Why are you not happy?
Because I think I think the one difference is the responsibility aspect. it's like when you grow older and older, like I think it's generally accepted for like people at a young age that they get away with more about the shit. Like, whereas if you're older and you're an adult and like, you know, it's like everybody expects you to like get your shit together and start doing shit, and like that responsibility, it becomes stressful, or you know, like the responsibility to do certain things, like to have a family,
Be like a functioning adult.
to be a functioning adult, yeah, definitely, and like all of this.
It stresses you out.
It's like stresses, not man. Like it's not. That's not. It's not only that. I'm sure it's like, you know.
What about you,
it's like
man?
a bunch of different combining reasons, but
No, for me it's more like now I think I'm happier simply because I understand a little more of like I can define myself better, so therefore I can be happy.
Yeah, like how?
In the sense that before, of course, you come to certain realizations as you grow older, and in terms of like how you perceive yourself. And normally, at least my recent realizations have been on the fact that a lot of personality is developed through like singular instances where I judge certain things about myself, and then I project like that as myself, and then I feel for some reason
It's way too abstract.
way too abstract.
You gotta give me an example.
Fuck. Let's see.
no, he was saying how like, you know, that I think he was saying how like there are certain things that like certain situations that he goes through. Like, it could be like one situation, and then he reacts in a certain way, and then judges himself based on that reaction, and then continues to live life based on what he just experienced or what.
So give me an example.
Is that pretty much what you said? Or?
Yeah. Well, I think a good example would be the whole like not talking to girls at school thing.
Yeah, you gotta explain how that happened, alright? Because that's like
that was a.
No one's gonna know that's a default thing. You gotta explain that.
No, man, just let's leave it at that.
No, we should not.
No, you need to explain what happened. Like people don't know what happened.
No, like I ended up not talking to girls for a while at school, like this.
Now for a while, for like a good like I'm thinking like 4 years.
No, ever since he came to British, man.
Yeah, so Form 3.
Yeah.
When did you come? Form 3?
Form 3.
Yeah.
So far, and pretty much right through upper 6, so that's Form 3, 4, 5, so 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
That you didn't talk to girls.
Yeah, but the thing is, it was exclusively at school. So,
So why did you talk to girls in school?
well, I think someone asked me a question of like, I think it was originally like, did I watch porn? And I hadn't watched porn.
A girl asked you a question.
No.
A guy asked you this question.
Yeah.
Alright.
And it went from that to like not talking to girls very fast.
Why? I don't
I'm
understand.
not very sure why.
How did porn and not having girls relate to each other?
Yeah.
No, it went down the road of like having watched porn. And
It's
since
easily
having
the
watched
most
porn-
sexist podcast we've ever done.
Yeah.
We need to get some women on this shit, for real.
Yes,
Go on,
Then
anyway.
talk more about watching porn.
Yeah. Talking a lot about fucking porn. Anyway, go on.
Tribulations of a generation. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, we went from like not watching porn to have not like jacked off, and to not talking
Not
to
talk to
girls.
girls.
So how have you not jacked off though? You know?
No, but I
Like at that time, you're saying.
now.
But how old were you at that time? But then that continued till like upper 6 though, right?
Yeah, but then it just got really awkward, and so
I think once he started not doing it, like it was just like it's too much pressure to like change it now.
But like girls
They
would
picked
come
up a
and
lot of
talk to you,
momentum.
you know? They like to just
yeah, for a
fun.
while, and then like you just
Then they stopped. You were like Raj
Yeah.
from the Big Bang Theory, but like actual, like real, like a real person. You know, like you were like a real Raj.
Yeah.
So now what's the difference?
what do you mean?
Okay, obviously like you talk to women, right? But I'm saying that in terms of like your happiness and shit, what's the difference?
Oh, no, in the sense that now, of course, it's not that like you're particularly happy, but the thing is like probably like sunshine.
What's the difference between that and now, dude? What were you trying to get out of that?
But I think between that and now is like substances. That's another
Hang on, man, I gotta pee,
conversation.
but I want to hear about substances. Give me a second.
Did you do a lot of shit while you were in Hong Kong?
Yeah.
How did you get into that shit? Like friends or what? or just because
No,
being on
the
your
first
own?
semester, the first semester I was there. I didn't do anything. I was completely straight edge, and my grades sucked. And like my living appreciation of where I was like at an all-time low. So second semester I decided to not be so serious about it, and my grades slightly went up. And then second year I started doing other shit, and my grades didn't improve. But then they got a bit too crazy.
What got a bit too crazy?
Substance
Managing
abuse.
work and play, man.
Managing work and what?
Work and other things, not work.
What?
No, man.
No, he was just saying how I asked him basically how did he get into, because basically Sadiq is an example of someone who
Never did substance.
never did shit and then went to college and just exploded.
He did a lot of shit when he went.
Yeah. So I asked him how did he get it. He's first semester he didn't do anything, but his grades were shitty. And then
His grades were shitty.
Yeah. And then he's as he did more and more shit, and then his grades also improved.
Are you serious?
Well,
And then I
to
guess
a point,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
it sort of averaged out. Because the thing is, since my first semester grades weren't so good, I realized I could never put it up really high, so I could sort of just do okay.
How come the substances helped you get your grades up?
No, I don't think they helped me get my grades up, but I think it helped me look at things from a different perspective, which helped me maybe focus harder than I should be focusing.
Like what?
Well, the thing is, you get into a mindset, and so it's the training of the mind to get into a mind state to accomplish a task.
Right.
And it's one thing you become pretty good at because you're continuously cram. But it's different because now when you work, it's just every day of the same thing. Before, at least when you were studying, it was a month of studying and then.
Yeah.
But now it's just every day.
Yeah, it's a responsibility, man. It's I think more than anything for me anyway, I'm just denying the fact that I'm old now and I have to fucking do shit for myself and I can't just rely on. The idea is, I don't know, Stefan, maybe it's different for you because honestly.
So for me, man, I'll tell you how it is for me. For me, man, I had when I was a kid, right? A lot of weird shit happened in my childhood and shit, right? Like bad shit and stuff.
Did you get raped?
No, I didn't get raped. Although when I was a deacon, I went to see the campus doctor once, and he felt me up a little.
But that was old when you were old.
Yeah, when I was 9, I was what's going on? And then it was only for about less than a minute.
So you could
less than a minute is a relatively long period of time.
No, he was
is this coming out of closet?
No, he was checking me out, and he was doing
you
checkups.
want to go back in that corner?
No, I'm good.
Just for visual.
He was touching my he was checking my chest and shit. He was listening to my heartbeat and shit. And then he just he was just he was holding my balls and asking me to cough and shit. He was doing that. But then he was also kind of doing that for way too long. Do you know what I mean? I know that's a normal thing, but he did it for a while. And he didn't wear gloves.
So he touched your dick?
Oh, he did a little bit. But he also wore gloves and shit. It was really awkward. And no, he didn't wear gloves is what I'm saying. He wasn't wearing gloves and shit. And yeah. But anyway, the point being is that there was a lot of drama and shit, right? And I always felt as a kid that I wanted to live my life differently than other people were living.
While you were a kid, or as in
while I was a kid. I wasn't into the same shit that other people were into. I wasn't amused by the same shit other people were amused by.
Yeah, because we were friends, but I had I was saying, right, I had clique of people.
Yeah, yeah.
But then also I was friends with you.
Yeah.
But you weren't really you were obviously friends. everybody was friends with everybody.
But I wasn't tight friends.
Yeah.
We were cool with.
Yeah,
I was cool with them, but we weren't friends. Yeah. But it was it was just hard for me to be getting to the same kind of shit that they were into and shit. Not that there's anything wrong with it or anything like that, but it was my whole thing was just different, right?
Yeah. And also I was gonna say about you, as a child though, you also had, I think you started having responsibilities a lot earlier than most kids do, you know?
Yeah.
Because your mom it was only you and your mom.
Yeah.
Your mom did a lot, but you also had to kind of do a lot.
Yeah.
For example, with me, I had both my parents, and I had maids to do shit for me. I'm not really a snob, but like that.
No, I know.
I
No,
mean?
that's a real thing,
Yes,
man.
and like
It's a
most
real
people,
thing, yeah.
most people, it's not only me. Like most
No,
people still have those.
Even if
like,
you don't have
have
maids, your
yeah.
mom does a lot of shit for
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
man. It's crazy.
And like so, in that sense, like you definitely had more responsibility.
Yeah.
So
But
you were
now,
doing it for a
like,
long
I've
time.
gotten, like, so back then I had to do all this shit, right? And I had to, like, find my way and shit, but I also felt, like, really, like, helpless and shit.
Yeah.
Like, I always felt like I couldn't do the things I wanted to do. Like, I always wanted to do shit, but I had a lot of resistance from, like, school, from, like, my mom, from, like, I had a lot of, like, forces, like, pushing
Yeah.
against it.
Yeah.
But now I feel, like, really, like, powerful and shit, man. Like, I feel like I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like, I feel like I can do whatever. I can live my life how I want. I do, like, whatever the fuck I want. Like, pretty much. Like, not that doesn't mean that, like...
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
I know exactly
it doesn't
what
mean
you
like I fucking rage every weekend and I drink like shit and I'm like bang like 100 hookers and like smoke cocaine and shit.
I know exactly.
But what I mean is like I just if somebody like is doing some shit and I'm like not into it, I'm just like nah, I'm not really into that, so I'm not gonna do that. Or if someone's doing some shit and I disagree, I'm just like I disagree. And then I do the job that I want to do, and I like podcasts if I want to, like, and I fucking write if I want to. Like I just like look for shit that I like and I do it, and there's like no one to like stop me. So I feel really good about that.
Yeah.
I have like other issues and shit that's like difficult, like problems in life and stuff like that. Everyone has angst and like you worry about bills and shit.
Yeah.
But I get to do like whatever I want, so it's like I'm chilled now.
Yeah.
You know?
I know exactly what you mean.
But I think like the issue with working normally is like, especially if you're working, a lot of your energy is spent towards like your work.
Yeah.
And a lot of that energy normally is, well, for most people and most cases, it's normally not geared towards something that you're into.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
even if it is geared towards something you're into, like the idea is normally not holistic. It's normally like it's normally to get paid.
Yeah.
And because of that, there's a lot of this energy that you just waste, and you don't really use it in what you
Yeah, I mean, it's a very hard thing to like work. I mean, they say like if you do what you love, it's not work anymore. You know what I mean?
So do you do what you love?
No, hell no.
So why don't you do what you love?
Because I can't. But what I love to do is fucking be, I mean, when I was a kid, what I only wanted to do is play basketball.
Yeah.
But I can't do that.
Because you're short.
Short and skinny and fucking, like in America to be like, especially in America too.
Yeah.
Because that's where the NBA is, right?
Yeah.
And like, in terms of skill level, I could match up for sure. But like, there's a different element of like,
Physicality
that comes into the game. That
you can't be
I
like
don't
a
have.
60 kilo, like 5'9" dude and like be in the NBA and shit, even if you're really skillful.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about that Jeremy Lim kid?
He's decent, man.
He's pretty big, eh?
Yeah, he's a big dude, you know.
He just looks small compared to the other dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's
I mean,
big.
doesn't mean at least you have to be over 6 feet.
He's over 6 feet?
Yeah, he's 6'2" or something.
Shit, man. He looks like 5 foot tall compared to the other dudes
Exactly.
around him.
I mean, and like anybody under 6 feet are like exceptional at what they do. Like for example, like Muggsy Bogues was like 5'5" actually.
Yeah?
And like his dribbling was just like exceptional, you know.
But I was thinking it was a long time ago.
Yeah, and but even still now, like Spud Webb was pretty short. Like there are shorter players. In
How
the game.
short? Like not less than 5'11".
Under 6, man.
Yeah, 5'11", 5'10".
5'10", 5'11", like my height, you know.
Yeah.
And so I mean there's space for shorter players, but generally it will be like you have to be exceptional at something. When I say exceptional, I mean like there's NBA good, and then there's a level higher than that they like. For example, Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah.
He was really short. He was really good at dribbling. That's one aspect of basketball. You know?
Yeah.
It was crazy how good he was.
Yeah.
He might be on par with everybody else shooting, for example. But dribbling was something that he was actually like crazy good at. Like shit like that, you know. And like Spud Webb, for example, he would dunk on 5'10".
Yeah.
And like shit like that.
But the thing like this, right? Like I reckon that so for example, I'd love to be like a pro fighter. Like I would love to be like a pro cage fighter, like a pro MMA fighter. Alright?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to be a pro MMA fighter. I'd love if that was my job, alright? And I could do that job. But I can't. Like I can't. Like I'm not nearly athletic enough. Like I can, if I train really, really hard and like push myself, and when I wasn't working, I was pushing my body like really hard and shit, then I can be kind of decent at it.
Yeah.
But that's if I'm pushing myself to the limit, I can be decent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can't. That's not nearly enough, right? There's dudes who like will do like 10% of the effort I put in, and will be just like monsters.
Yeah.
Like they're just fucking. You can't keep up with those dudes.
Yeah.
Their cardio is crazy. This punching is crazy. I used to train with this one dude, man. He used to like go 3 rounds with me, go 3 rounds with someone else, go 3 rounds with the next dude. Like, just boom, 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 just like knock them all out and shit. Like not knock him out, but like he'd be able to hang. Like his cardio was crazy. One time he rode a bicycle like from like Maragama to Devala, and then he trained with us after he rode the bicycle from Maragama to Devala, right? So that dude's like, you can't like match up with that shit, right? But then
obviously people have like naturally people have.
But then I also really like writing, and I like coming up with like creative expressions and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like follow that. So how do you know that you don't have like another thing that you'd be into? It's not your first choice, but it's
No,
not.
definitely. Yeah, I agree. I think it's just a case of like exploring your options, you know. But it's more than that, man. It's like you said, you have this power. You feel like you have this power, like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's the same with me.
Why not?
Because I still, my family is like, there's still pressure from there, in terms of like how I lead my life and shit like that. So I have I've grown up with those responsibilities, that idea of like community and like being responsible enough not to fucking bring shame to my family, shit like that, dude. Like,
But what would bring like shame to your family and shit?
like being a fucking rebel, man, and like like
No, but I'm
doing
saying
shit, doing like what I want, and like
What would
necessarily
be
what
a
I
rebel?
want.
What would be a rebel?
Like
what would be a
maybe
rebel?
like drinking and like smoking pot and like getting fucked up, shit like that, or I mean those are like very like.
What if you had an unconventional profession, like you were like a tattoo artist?
Yeah, no, man.
That would bring shame to your family.
Not really shame, but like not really shame. That that's not really shame, but it's
Yeah.
more like it's not respectful, and I don't want to become tattooist, first of all. That's not what I do. But like that, I know what you mean when you say that type of job. Something.
I'm just trying to think of a job that like we actually like a lot of people enjoy. Some people are really good at, but still people still diss them. Like even when they're really good at it, like they still get shit from that. They still get heat from their parents and shit. Even though they're good at their job.
Like something like a fucking DJ, for example. Yeah, I mean I would love
to be a DJ.
I don't know if I'm good at it, or like I never tried to DJ. I've never tried, but I have friends who DJ, and that has happened over the past few years. Like Ravi and
like your friends have started to DJ.
Over the past 5 years, and they're all really good at it, and like they play awesome music. And
but you feel like you couldn't do that.
Not that I couldn't do.
You feel like that would bring like disrespect to your family or whatever.
Not disrespect, but I feel like my dad or my parents would like maybe over time it would get better, obviously. But
it's like a loss of face.
Yeah, it's like.
What do you mean it's like a loss of face?
Like,
I mean, Tariq might know, man. His family is pretty conservative.
So let's see what is it. What do you mean like a loss of face?
In the sense that normally the culture is set up that everybody judges the other people, and that's how you sort of maintain a sort of level of, well, at a basic sense, that's how you maintain society as a whole.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's how you maintain like your self-identity as well. And so a lot of times.
No, bro. No, I'm just saying. Like just specifically, what do you mean by it would bring a loss of face?
What
does that mean?
For example, simply, it probably would mean something like, well, your parents no longer, when they're talking with other people their age.
Yeah.
There's a certain sense of like, I raised this person and this is the result.
Yeah.
So it sort of looks bad, like, well, if you don't think what you have raised is doing something useful in your eyes, then that's sort of like a waste of years.
Yeah.
And having a kid especially is like a lot of like, it's an investment, like time and money.
Yeah, that's also another thing, like my dad has spent all his money for me to go. Like for example, like one example is I went to school in America, right?
Yeah.
For the longest time I was really homesick. So I was like, I still, like America is cool, but it's like, it's not somewhere I see myself living like long term. I don't want to live in a country like that. It's crazy. Like, I want to live in Sri Lanka. So for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, why is that surprising?
Because I wouldn't want to live. I mean, look, man.
I don't know about America, but I think
No, man. In general, America is just it's okay, man. But it's like the lifestyle there is like
what I would say is this country, like it's mine, as in I was born here. Like it's mine, right? But it hasn't been good to me. Like it's been.
Yeah, I think that's
it's
why.
I
think to a certain extent it has been good to me.
Yeah.
And so from my perspective, from my life or whatever, like I like it, you know, like there's comforts here that I appreciate. There's the lifestyle.
Yeah, I don't have any comforts here that I have in other places. You know, like it's very hard to in Sri Lanka. Like it's very hard to if you have no comforts, create comforts for yourself.
Yeah.
It's very hard to build something for yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really fucking rough, right? Like we don't have good social mobility. Like it's very hard to if you have nothing to go to get to a point where you have something, it's really really rough. Like you gotta really fucking be scraping and
No, yeah, definitely.
scrapping for shit. It's really fucking rough.
And I can definitely see how you would probably do much better for yourself in a country who appreciates that type of a personality. You know, somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's a Western oriented country, basically Australia or America.
Yeah, but at the same time, I also reckon loads of Sri Lanka, man. If you look at the mass population in our country, man, I think a lot of people, they may love it here, but I think a lot of that love is based on they haven't experienced anything different.
Yeah.
But they are struggling, man. People are fucking people. I think average salary is like $40,000 right now, 40, 50. What can you their families living on $40,000-$50,000, man.
Yeah.
Literally millions of families. So it's how do people live like that, man? It's very little money, man.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't have it's not that they don't work. They work fucking crazy. But they don't have a way of making money.
No, definitely, and that speaks to fucking income disparity. You know, basically Sri Lanka does not have a middle class. That's basically it. The majority, in America, for example, if you think about America or any Western country, that's a first world country. If you look at the way income is dispersed, the majority of people are fucking middle class. They earn a decent wage, but enough for them to live comfortably. You know, eat good food, with no problems.
Yeah.
And there's a section who's poor and then there's a section who's really rich.
Yeah.
But in Sri Lanka, it's there's a section that's really rich and everybody else is pretty much, below a certain level.
Everyone else is struggling.
Yeah, everyone else is
even
struggling.
if you're not poor, you're
exactly.
really it's rough.
Yeah,
it's
rough.
It's not.
You're struggling. You're right. That's the correct word. You're struggling. Poor maybe not the correct word because when someone says poor, it's oh, you're fucking in poverty and shit. You know.
Yeah,
but
even they're not in poverty, man. They're working really hard and they don't have a lot to show for the work they put in.
Yeah.
And that's the big issue.
And I think sadly that comes a lot from our well, I wouldn't say it's only us, but there's this mentality where you don't want to overpay. And it's all about.
You'd never overpay, man.
Nobody likes to overpay. But the thing is, it's detrimental in the sense that when you realize that most of the time you don't want to overpay, or at least pay sufficiently enough for other people to also live okay.
No, but what I'm saying is in
whole
no
idea of
country,
really cheap, and it's not only on a personal level; it's on business level.
No, I think that
when you're working with businesses and things.
That's true. That's true.
No, and see, and you're absolutely right. And the reason that I can see what I've experienced is that people fail to understand there's a value that comes when you pay somebody for what they're worth.
Yeah.
You know? There's a value that brings that. See, and I know what you feel because I know when I'm being paid for something that. If for example, my job there, it's very client oriented.
Yeah.
So I deal with clients a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'm paid from my boss or whatever. And so for example, right? So when I do some work for a client and they appreciate it, right? They say thank you, Tariq. I enjoyed working with you or whatever. The next time that they the next time I get a project with them. I do more than what is necessary. And it's not something that comes, it's not something I think about and say, I have to do more because, I have to keep up my standard. It's not nothing to do at all. It's just the fact that they appreciate my work.
Yeah.
Made me want to do more
it's
for
a
them.
human value.
And so that's to do with the financial thing.
Yeah.
When someone feels like they're being paid for what it is, the next time, they want to do better,
Yeah.
And that value is hard to put into,
people.
a number or something. and like
yeah.
You know what I mean? That it's very hard for someone to
It's
realize
hard to
that
quantify
Exactly.
like human kindness and
so,
human potential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so because of that, like that's why people are mostly underpaid, because obviously there's a financial aspect to it, but then the person paying doesn't realize that extra amount that you give them is in the long term will be better for you, because you're going to get more out of that person.
That's true,
You know?
but there's also another issue that exists like this, right? Where it's like, so you know how you're saying we don't have a middle class, right?
Yeah.
So one of the, like, historically, one of the reasons we don't have a middle class is because we were colonized as a country, and colonial people came in, and they fucking, like, colonial people, like, lived it up and shit, and they took the resources from the land and shit like that. Sri Lankans made very little money from the resources that were generated in the country, and Sri Lankan people didn't really have a good conception of the value of these resources and shit, right? Like they didn't have a good conception of like money and finances in the international like trade markets and shit.
Yeah, definitely.
So then subsequently what happened was that as colonials started moving out and these businesses started moving into the hands of Sri Lankans, even though they happened, they continue the same mentality. So there's Sri Lankan people who are like the wealthy class in the society who took on those same roles, and there are other people who like would continue to be the role that like the colonials originally put like Sri Lankans in, right? So a lot of people. So it's a reason why, man, I get like really weird out. Now when I go to like work and shit, there's like the person who makes like who cleans the office, the person who makes tea in the office, the security guards, the drivers, they all call me sir. And it's fucking weird. They're all older than me. And they're like fucking, a lot of them are like fathers, they have like families and shit. And they call me sir. And it's so fucking weird, right? I've done nothing like to be called sir and shit. Right?
I know exactly what you're
And I can't fucking deal with that, but that is like an aspect of like, it's the reason why we don't have a middle class. It's this sort of like
mentality,
neo-colonial mentality that our society is like operating under.
And it's not, I mean, it's not like to do, I don't think it's a caste system. I don't think it's the extent of a caste system for sure.
It's like, not religious, but it's a class system, not a caste system, but it's a class system,
exactly,
right?
Yeah, maybe that's the better phrase. A class system, and like, and the funny and the fucked up thing is the people in those low class accept their roles.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like they're even rebelling against. They accept that, and they happily do that. It's not like it's like a fucking shitty thing for them to do. Like they're happy to do it.
If I tell them not to call me sir, they feel real weird about it. They get real uncomfortable. They go and they stop themselves. Like I tried it like for a bit. I told people not to call me sir and shit, but it didn't work. They were really upset about it and shit. Right? They couldn't like handle it. And once they accept that they're going to be paid less. And other people accept that you're going to pay them less.
Exactly. And it's like that's the problem. It's like that they don't do anything. Like my maid, my maid, right? Like she's been here for like 40 years. My family, like my mom was a kid.
Yeah.
She's pretty much like my second mom. She raised me. She fed me. Like all this shit. So like now when I come back from. There's a dirty joke funny in your head, right? No,
I'm wondering if she calls you Tariq Mate. I'm just wondering.
No, she calls me Raja, which means king in Tamil.
No, but Raja is also, that's what you call like children.
Yeah.
No, but it's like she calls my older brother Kanda, me Raja, and my sister Side. So in Tamil, which is the native language, it means king, prince,
goddess.
No, Raja means prince, so I'm the prince. Sridevi is princess. My sister's and Kanna is like either king or I don't know, something.
So is that what you call kids?
Normally you call Raja as like a term of endearment, like you want to.
No, but it means like prince.
It does, but it's hardly ever used.
It's weird that she doesn't call you Tariq though.
Yeah, she never. And like and so like what I'm saying is when I come home, like for holidays now, ever since I went to fucking America and shit. Like she'll like come, like my house is 3 stories, right? So I'm watching TV in the 3rd story, and she's old now, she's almost 60 years old, and she doesn't do anything. Like now she's just part of the family. She's gonna pretty much die in our house. She's gonna be there forever. The only thing she does now is like manage the other people and like cooks a little bit and shit. And so she'll like walk all the way up, like just to give me an evening snack, for example, like. And I won't even ask her. And she'll think about me, Tariq needs a snack right now. So she'll take the time to cook something, walk all the way up, and she's 60, she has leg problems. I'm there chilling, watching TV like a badass. And this old poor lady is bringing food and drinks for me,
That's so awful, man.
Like
I know.
It takes her maybe like this whole process of cooking maybe takes like maybe 30-45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then walking up itself is like a 10-minute process for
Yeah.
Whereas I could have gone in 30 seconds and at least picked up my food
With
and
your
gone-
healthy young fucking legs.
Yeah, and picked my food up and gone back up, you know?
Yeah.
That would have been a minute for me, but instead, no, you know? So, and it's like, and for her to do that brings her joy. It's like, it brings her joy for her to do that for me.
No, for real.
And that is insane for me to think about how a mind, it's a mind, you know? Like,
yeah.
And man, so
That's something as well.
Yeah.
I find like when you try to explain it to like people who don't come from societies that have this, it's really hard for them to understand.
Yeah.
Like they always think that it's like adversarial, but no, it's, you know what it's like? It's like fucking Downton Abbey.
I never watched this.
Oh, it's like that shit. That is the only show that I've watched where like I watched that and I got like a deep insight into Sri Lankan culture. Because in Downton Abbey, like the maids and shit are really proud about that, and they would never call someone by their name, even if they asked them to. They'd be like really uncomfortable about it and shit like that. Yeah. It's so fucking weird, man. And it's like, I don't know, man. Oh, another example is like this, right? You know how when the economy collapsed and a lot of people got like salary reductions and stuff like that in countries like Greece, Italy, and Spain and shit like that. And subsequently there were riots in the street and shit like that, right? Over like the income disparity, about the economy crashing and shit like that. Like people went fucking crazy. Yeah. Everyone was protesting in the street. Everyone was like trying to overthrow the government. They were like, it's ridiculous. You guys can't do this shit to us and shit like that, right? But in like Sri Lanka and India and places like Mumbai and shit, like, you know, where like the income disparity is like fucking crazy, you know? Yeah. No one like, I mean, people complain, but nobody like protests. People don't take to the streets in that way. People don't feel empowered.
Because it's always been like that. You know?
Yeah.
And it's a recent phenomenon for those countries. That's why they're protesting.
No, but the thing is, it's always been like that in the sense when you say that it's been like that for like a few hundred years.
Yeah.
And
but that's long enough that the generation has come and gone, and that ideology is being built now, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why it's pretty much like it's always been like that.
It's crazy how but people are so, like, people will not accept that poverty is a natural state of existence in these countries. Yeah. Like Italy and Greece and like Spain and stuff. But in Sri Lanka, people and India and in these like countries that suffer from this, like, I have a friend who calls it a colonial hangover, right? So countries that suffer from the colonial hangover, people will accept that as the norm. Yeah. People will accept that that's like the way of life and shit.
No, definitely. But I would say, you know, the one positive from all of this is the fact that in terms of happiness, coming back to, you know, joy. You asked me about happiness. Yeah. Like I would say that in places like Sri Lanka and stuff, even the people who are in poverty, you know, like in the villages and stuff. Yeah. I think they're still happy. Like maybe like I know there's beggars in Colombo, and that's just a result of fucking what's the term we learn in geography? Like when people from the villages move to the urbanization, right? And that's a different scene I'm talking about, and that's just, you know, they come here thinking that they'll have a better life and not. Okay. But in terms of like people who live in the villages still, who live a very simple life, live on subsistence, and do that shit, pretty much they're poor, you know, like they have small heart. In terms of happiness, they're still happy, man, you know, like they're still like content, you know, like they have no worries.
I don't know, man. I reckon they're happy, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that happiness has more to do with being happy and content with what you have. Rather than being happy and content because your situation is good, because it's not good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
But I don't know the degree to which we can say that. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not.
I'm saying if you compare it to like a Western country, that you'll never have that. People in Western countries,
the norm is a good thing that they're happy like that.
It's not a good thing because people take advantage of that.
Yeah, exactly. That's
those people get taken advantage of. That's what I'm saying.
It's not a good thing, but it's a positive that comes out of this, at least for them, you know, like
it's a good quality to have as a person.
But
its impact on its society and how
it's negative, right? It's a really good quality, like as an individual, to learn to be happy with what you have. That's for sure. It's true, right? And a lot of these people, you go, they still like have fun and stuff. It's not like you go and it's like a fucking wasteland.
No, I know, exactly.
They have like their village festivals. They have parties. They have like they go crazy for Vesak and stuff like that.
It's not only that. It's just that I'm talking about day-to-day living as well.
Yeah, they're happy. They definitely laugh smart. They're definitely living happy lives. But at the same time, man, when shit hits the fan, they get taken advantage of.
No, definitely.
Not
definitely.
even when shit hits the fan, man. With anything, they get taken.
No, what I'm saying is they're the kind of people who like they may lose that some government dude may like take a house away from them and they wouldn't like fucking know the legal cause of what the fuck happened to them.
I know.
They're the kind of people who like if there's any kind of natural disaster, any kind of like thing going on, a development project or anything happening in their village, when shit gets fucked up, they don't have a mechanism to speak out and say, you just fucked up our community, you just fucked up our lives. But they have no way of like, they have no voice.
Yeah.
Right? And loads of shit happened like that Hambantota thing with the fertilizers and shit like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, there was nothing. Like, those people had no real voice to like come out and be like.
And even if they did, like, everybody, like, nobody cares, you know.
Yeah, no one listens.
No one will care, no one will listen. It has to like, it's definitely a long, drawn-out process, even if someone decides to pursue it. And so,
if 10 business leaders in Colombo like died from like some like fertilizer poisoning related thing, right? There'd be fucking hell to pay. People would like lose government seats, and because of the nature of a country, some people might die over it and shit. Like some people might get assassinated over it and shit.
No, definitely.
If these people die, like nothing happens to them. Their communities get devastated, and like there's no like salvation for them.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I don't know. It's on the one hand, I'm always.
But it's like that's the reality of it, you know. Like you and I can talk about all this shit, but like we have to accept the reality of it.
Yeah.
And yes, you know, I mean, like I always say, okay, you and I can't change it, and then obviously
no, we can change it.
No,
what the fuck?
I mean, no. What I'm trying to say is like when I like one person can't. I always think, okay, you know, who am I to change something? But then the obvious come back to that is like, look, all has to start somewhere. Like everybody has to do their own part, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I know that argument. So, but at the same time, everybody has to accept the reality of this, right? So, in what I'm trying to say is that if you accept the reality of what's going on, the only positive is at least that they are happy. It's not like they don't feel as if they're suffering.
No, man.
Compared to like a westernized country where, like, you know, where the norm is to rather, you know, climb the ladder and like be successful
and never be happy no matter how much you get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know what I mean? The fucking American dream, right? Everybody, for example, in America, like everybody.
That's why I love the Great Gatsby.
It's a statement where if you do work hard, blah blah blah, you will rise and do what you want. But and then so at the same time, when you see a beggar in the road, it's like you're in this country, you know, no matter what your circumstances were, no matter what your opportunities were, if you had made something out of yourself, you could do it. And yes, you know what I mean? And like, so that in that reality,
well, in the capitalist world, in the American world, if you're poor, people always blame. They say you're poor because you're fucking lazy.
Yeah, but that happens here as well. If you look at Colombo, there's so many
But do they get blamed for being like poor because they're lazy, or do they get blamed for being poor because they're in a certain social class?
I think in Colombo they do to a certain extent blame them, and that's a result because Colombo is pretty much the city of Colombo, and in some ways it's westernized, you know, like
no,
in
but
terms
the
of
thing
how
it's more westernized in attitude than an actual opportunity. There's actually
sorry, go on. No, that was a good one. I like that. Go on. No. Colombo is more westernized in attitudes than in actual like opportunities.
Yeah, definitely.
And the thing is,
that's one forever, man. That's one for the ages. Go.
No, and so the thing what happens is that you have this very classist mentality, at least for people who have more than people have less.
Yeah.
There's always this sense of like, there's always this vertical ladder that can't be like reduced. And what happens is normally that people don't give people a job based on how it can grow. The job you have is always like a job you will be doing a year later. People don't give you a job with the sense that...
So what it's called is it's called social mobility, right? It's like it's the kind of thing where like when you're like in another country you may be working, right? And today you're at an entry level position, then you get to a higher position, Whereas in Sri Lanka, a lot of jobs, right? A lot of jobs that a lot of people do, like being wait staff in a hotel, being not wait staff in a major hotel, but wait staff in restaurants and stuff like that. People who work in cleaning, in cleaning janitorial kind of jobs. People who are like taxi drivers, three-wheel drivers and stuff like that, where they never, their situation never improves. Right? They get paid the same amount the first day that they were a three-wheel driver as the last day that they were a three-wheel driver. Do you know what I mean? Like they get stuck in jobs where there's no mobility, where they have no methods of like saving up money, they have no methods of improving their lives. Some of them do, but only the really exceptional, badass, like incredible, like self-determination and have a lot of like luck here and there kind of people like in
and
the
the thing
situation.
is, the issue comes back into the fact that people aren't willing to pay more for something today than they are before because they think they're getting ripped off.
Yeah.
And so you have people, for example, who won't pay more simply because they think
They can get something else for cheap.
Yeah.
Or they get the same.
You guys haven't like read The Great Gatsby, right?
No, I haven't read it, but I know the story.
Okay, right. I love The Great Gatsby because like The Great Gatsby, the book, right? The movie, none of this shit really comes through clearly in the movie, right?
Yeah.
But when you read the book, the whole book is about the American dream. It's about the pursuit of the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the story is like, it's about class differences.
Yeah.
And Gatsby is in love with this woman, but he's from like the poorest social class, and she's from like the richest social class, right? And they fall in love during the war because during war times the classes get a bit blurred.
Yeah.
Because you can join the army, and then like any women date guys from the army. Like it's not, the class barriers are broken down when you're in the army, right? You can get promoted to a position higher than someone from a higher social class and shit like that, right? In America, in the American army. And basically that's when they fall in love. And then later he spends his whole life trying to get rich to try to get her again. Because he wants to get her, so he gets rich and everything to get her.
Yeah.
Right? But once he gets rich enough and once he gets her and she comes back into his life, she finds out that she wasn't worth that much anyway. And she doesn't really make him happy. She's kind of a piece of shit, actually. She's kind of a shitty human being. Right? So anyway, this woman's like in love with, he's in love with her, or he's in love with the idea of being with her. Once she comes back into his life, he finds out that she's not that good a person. And what he's talking about is like the pursuit of wealth. The pursuit of wealth, in the sense that the pursuit of wealth is not just the pursuit of money and material things to consume, but it's the pursuit of being in another social class.
Yeah, status.
Right? Getting to status and the things that come from status. And I'm not someone who really believes in status, and I'm not someone who probably ever buy a luxury car. I'm not someone who probably ever, I don't wear fucking jewelry except for like this shit that I'm making myself in the house and shit. I probably won't like have any like of those symbols, right? But when he expressed it as like he's in love with this woman and the woman happens to be rich, I don't know, man. If I was in love with a rich girl and I couldn't be with her because we're from different worlds.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You do what you gotta do, I think.
Yo, if you wrote The Great Gatsby, that was the book The Great Gatsby would be like. You gotta do what you gotta do, man, alright? The pussy's good. You gotta do it.
No, but I totally get the whole idea about like, striving for something all your life and then... But,
and then getting it and realizing that it's fucking nothing. It's not worth anything. Yeah.
And I think most things in life are like that.
No, I reckon the pursuit of happiness is like that.
Yeah.
It's like you chase this thing and like you think it'll make you happy. You finally get it and you realize it's fucking nothing.
But see, that's the thing, man. Happiness for me, it's not like, at least I want to think about it this way, but it's not something you gain. It's not like a thing you achieve in life,
Then what is it?
It's like, it's just a state of mind, dude.
Okay, so that state of mind has to be achieved. You don't wake up and...
But people think of it as like... it's like a material thing, Like it's something like, I'm trying to like say, like, it's like running a marathon. Like people train so that, train so that, they finish a marathon. It's like in that sense, like I think most people think about it like that. And achieving a state of mind is true. You're right. I guess it's somewhat of, something to achieve, but like it's not like it's like not something that comes and goes. It's like either you have or you don't, and that's what you gotta aim for.
Yeah. No, the thing is, most people think that happiness is like winning the medal after running the marathon.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, happiness is more about the, like, at least the ability to be happiness is the ability to be happy in the process of like training for and running whether you stand or not on the podium, dealing with your position that you
in. Because I reckon, man, in my life, alright, there's only two things that I found that give me like that like full on sense of like happiness, right? Where like one, that sense where you can like fucking die today and it'll be alright. Your life is good. Like I don't want anything, I don't need anything, I don't desire anything. Right? There's only two things. One was like the feeling of being in love. That was like fucking that was like, this is okay. I could do this for the rest of my life, and this is a great way to live.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, I'm down. Like, whatever the fuck happens, I'm down now. I'm ready to die now.
Yeah.
I'm good. The other one is like doing creative things and like creating things, right?
Yeah.
Like writing. If the podcast comes through well, like when you can like take your expressions and like make them good and make them clear and put them in a way that someone else can connect with them and understand them and then put them out. Those two things are the only things that I found that make me happy. And I'm trying to focus more on the latter than the former because this doesn't rely so much on like other people not being addicted to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like, dude, like when you're talking about the pursuit of happiness, it is a getting into a mental state for sure. But I don't know if I believe in this like super like Buddhist kind of idea of like whatever you're doing, like you can enjoy doing it. Like whatever you're doing, like maybe you can, man. But I don't reckon that like.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something. It's not. But your thing, I didn't mean it where I said, "Oh, want to have this like a permanent thing." You know, I think in life you have to be sad. You have to be happy. You have to be so many things so that you can appreciate each of those things. You know, like I think if you're always happy, it's like anything, man. If you're always doing something, you're eventually gonna get bored of it. You know, it's like and it's like your feelings are like that too. If you're always happy, you're eventually gonna get bored of it. And so that's why you need to be sad, you need to be happy, you need to have a good time.
So I'm saying there's a difference between like, for example, say like the kind of say you're training like for a fight,
yeah,
right? And you love fighting, right? But training is tough. You're on a diet. The diet sucks. You can't like sleep at night because your blood sugar levels are low and shit. You gotta like get up in the morning. You gotta train like early in the fucking morning. You kind of want to sleep in.
Yeah.
You haven't had sex for like a week because you believe in that whole testosterone increases when you're not having sex thing and shit. So that's also difficult for you. The only contact you're getting is like other men punching you in the face and shit. So it's like it's a rough kind of life. And then like you gotta go to the ring and it's fucking tense and it's difficult, right?